Father bless, I'm distressed because of the baptism issue. I was told that there was a saint that was baptized by his young friends as a kid. Oh, you're talking about St. Athanasius baptized some kids on the sea level. On the sea, yeah. This was used as an example that baptism does not need to be within the church. I was told that you are way over the top about baptism, which is not true, but I was told that Chrismation makes previous baptisms outside the faith legit, and it is not necessary to cause trouble over this statement. Yeah, of course. I've heard all this too for 30 years. None of these statements are new to me. I gave the example of Mount Athos and other monasteries saying to get rebaptized into the Orthodox faith, and was told it does not matter. Any thoughts? Thank you. Okay, Chase. Thanks for your question. Look, I would love to talk to these people. Send them my way. Let's have a nice chat. Let's talk about these issues. We've done this. Not only have we done this, we've done this for 30 years. I mean, at least 5 now. I mean, from 2020, 1920, when I started this whole Orthodox ethos adventure. We published books. You don't need to listen to me or Joe Schmo. Go read the church fathers. Go listen to the saints. It's not hard. As long as you get to know them and you know the consensus, it's not hard to figure out what should be done. You don't need to listen to Father Peter. He's just a donkey, man. He's just the last guy in the train that says, hey, by the way, you should pay attention to these saints because it looks like they're pretty much in agreement. And what can I say? I don't know what to say. I've said so much on this topic incessantly for years. St. Paisios, what did he say? Baptize. Get baptized. He said to a priest friend of mine, who's a priest now in the church, in the OCA, who's publicly said this, by the way. Everybody knows this, but I'm not going to mention his name because I want to give him attention to him. But he went to Mount Athos. He was in Greece. He was studying theology. And people were telling him, you need to be baptized because you're only chrismated. And he was like, what is this? What are they talking about? Nobody told me that in America. This was in the 1980s. So he goes to St. Paisios. Of course, he was still alive. And he sits down and he says, Yeroda, what's going on here? Am I Orthodox or not? He says, look, St. Paisios says, look, Father. It wasn't Father then. He was a student, I think, at the theological school. He says, look, here's what's going on. Now, your friends and the people who you're talking about are not going to like St. Paisios' answer, okay? I know that. They hate it. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what he said, and this is from the priest who heard it, all right? So you can say, well, he's all washed up, but I'm not lying. So he says to this young man, he says, look, here it is. You're not hooked up to the electrical wires. Like they're going all around your neighborhood, but you didn't connect yet. Like you got all the machinery, but you got to actually connect the wires. He says, well, what do you mean? I should be baptized? I said, yeah, you need to be baptized. Another priest, Greek Archdiocese, friend of mine. His bishop knows this. His bishops, so this is not, I'm not outing anybody. I'm not going to say their names, but this is like common knowledge among certain people. Anyway, he went to Greece. He went to Mount Athos. He went to the great Elder Emilianos. For all of you who out there who don't know who Elder Emilianos is, he's the abbot of the monastery Simona Petra on Mount Athos. This is a monastery that a lot of intellectuals revere. We have some intellectual monks in America who are from this monastery. People love to talk about, Elder Emilianos' writings on all these topics, but here's something they don't want to talk about. So this young man, I think he was a priest actually at that point. I'm not sure. I think he was a priest. Maybe. It was in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And he's sitting there and Elder Emilianos says, where's your guardian? You don't have a guardian angel. It's like, what do you mean I don't have a guardian angel? He said, were you baptized? He said, well, I was received by Chrismation. You need to be baptized. You don't have a guardian angel. He pretty much knew that the man was not baptized. Now, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Did he actually see a guardian angel? It means that Elder Ephraim was known to see angels and all kinds of things. So maybe Elder Emilianos had this vision. I don't know. I just know that this revered elder that people love to talk about in other ways, but don't want to talk about this, he had the same position as St. Paisios. Let's go to St. Ephraim of Cathonakia. Same thing. How about St. Iacovos? St. Iacovos of Evia, great saint. We got a whole story in the book that we published where he says, I don't want to tell the whole story because it's long. Go get the book, Life of St. Iacovos. But basically, the bishop said it's not necessary for this. He had somebody there who's a catechumen from Italy, and his spiritual son was catechizing him, and he was all excited. And he said, go to the bishop now, get the blessing so you can be baptized. The bishop says, no, he doesn't want to be baptized. We've changed our policy on that. Now we just chrismate people who are Roman Catholics. He doesn't need to be baptized. So he comes back to St. Iacovos and says, the bishop told me I didn't need to be baptized. He said, oh, really? He said, yeah, the Holy Synod of Greece said, actually, you don't need to be baptized. Oh, he said, really? St. Iacovos now says, I don't know what the Holy Synod says. I know what the gospel says. And the gospel says, believe and be baptized. We're going to baptize you. And he immediately went over to the chapel, prepared the baptismal font, and himself did the baptism. This is in the life, and it's told to me by the person who had the experience. All right, so our contemporary saints that we all revere and read and study are telling us that there's a problem. There's a problem. We're not doing things the way the fathers handed down to us. Well, you can go back to the ancient fathers, you can go back to the Colivades fathers, or you can just go to the latest offering of the saints. And you can believe and be simple and be done with it. Or you can insist, because you have all kinds of different ideas about your past, your participation in the heterodoxy, what you felt, what you believe about heterodoxy, the ecumenist ideas today. Maybe even you're an ecumenist and you think that the baptism is separate from the church. It's not separate from the church. The examples that you gave with St. Athanasius, talking about St. Athanasius on the seashore, these are the exceptions that prove the rule. These are miracles and allowances by God, just like the thief on the cross, or the mime that was self-baptized but then martyred, or whatever it was, accepted by the church. These are exactly not what we should be following, because they're the exceptions. They've made into a rule. They've made it the norm. They've made it the canona, right? Which has never been done in the church. And the fact that people are calling on these is just excuses, and they're poor excuses. And we need to repent. We need to repent, folks. We need to repent and do what the saints have taught and teach us, and be received in the church as the fathers have taught for 2,000 years. And they've answered this question with regard to the form and all this stuff. The books we're talking about, I just mentioned this book, Father George Metalinos. We've done our own book. Okay, the answers are not hard to find, but you got to have a good disposition, and you got to not be listening to the theories that are popular in the ecumenical movement. Move on. All right, I'm done with that. God bless you. I hope that helped. And I'm not angry or anything. I just want to be very, very clear so that nobody walks away confused as to what the contemporary saints are saying.